to the weekend, and I feel like temperature-wise, the weekend's going to feel really nice. But we got to get through today first. I know it's a little cloudy. I know it's a little gloomy. And that's where we come in here on Coast Life to brighten things up.
Yeah, we're down near the coast, but it has like a Seattle vibe right now.
Does.
It's gray, it's rainy. We've got storms coming in off the coast. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later on in the program with Chris Mastrobuono, one of our great meteorologists.
Yes.
But for now, I'm Charlie Sokaitis.
And I'm Leah Rizzo. We're your hosts of Coast Life, and we have a lot of fun here. And part of that fun is having these conversations. Many of them have been creeping me out lately because a lot of them have been AI related. I don't even know what this technology starts with.
Dark and dystopian.
That's
what this sounds like to me. I don't know what it sounds like to everybody at home. We're going to explain here.
Again, I feel like more scientists need to be asking the question, why? But scientists at Stanford have created a brain implant that can read a person's inner voice, the silent thoughts that normally you keep to yourself, the inside voice, the inside thoughts. This one picks up brain signals directly and can turn them into words with about 74% accuracy. To protect privacy, the system only works after the user thinks a special phrase. Even so, experts warn that it creates questions about privacy and is there anything left to be considered a private thought?
This is the worst idea in the history of ideas, because inside people's brains, the whole reason that we have developed this ability to think inside our heads and not be talking the whole time is because sometimes you need to think about what you're gonna do here. You're like, that's not appropriate. We should not be having that thought. You need to be able to have a chance to mete out what you actually think about something.
Now, I see where maybe I'm approaching this the wrong way, because I have just had a second thought. Started out internal, but I'm going to share it with you because I guess this could be something really useful for folks who are nonverbal. If you can't express what you're thinking, what you want to say, maybe that's where this technology comes in. Maybe that's where the idea stemmed from. I just feel like you've got so many folks with malintent out there that would use this for all.
Are you saying that technology could possibly be used for the wrong ends and reasons by the people that control it? I just don't think we have any evidence of that.
None whatsoever. So yeah, I can see where maybe there are definitely useful applications and perfectly moral applications, but I also feel like that privacy question does get called into play no matter what the scenario is that we're talking about here. Listen, I just don't want to know what people are thinking.
Listen, if Tina walks in and your brain's like, that's a terrible shirt, there's a reason you keep that on the inside. You're not trying to be mean to anybody, but you're going to think what you're going to think.
I struggle enough to watch my face as it is. I really don't need people to be able to jump into my brain, or they'll be like, wow, there's alarmingly little in there. One or the other.
Or they're like, you just go on entire adventures that have nothing to do with what's going on around you at all times, right? And I'm like, yes, I do.
I don't need to be called out for not paying attention any more than I'm already at. So I feel like for me, as it stands, it's a hard pass. I even double checked my source where this came from because I was like, this sounds fake. But then it was a story on NPR. And I was like, well,
there is nothing more personal than the thoughts that you have inside your own head. You don't even share those things all the time with the people that care the absolute most about you and that you care the absolute most about. So why would you want to share that with, big tech corp X? It just seems like an awful plan.
Well, maybe it's because people aren't doing enough reading, and that is also true and a sad statistic. But it looks like a new study has found record lows for Americans who are reading for fun, showing a significant decline of 40% in the last 2 decades. They found significant drops in leisure from various groups of folks, especially lower income levels or educational opportunities. Women were also more likely to read for pleasure than men. Experts say that leisure reading is linked to greater health outcomes, such as reduced stress and anxiety.
Let me talk to everybody at home real quick, because I'm going to come out here in favor of big book. I think that we need to be reading more. We've talked on this show ad nauseum about things like doom scrolling and your time, way too much time on TikTok, and how the world can all feel like too much is going on some days. One of the absolute best ways to kind of hold that off, not feel that encroaching dread all around you, is to get lost in a good book, a good story. Doesn't matter what kind it is. You pick the topic. You pick something you're interested in. There's literally millions and millions of books to choose from. But it is a great way to break away from that everyday rigmarole that we all have to deal with.
Absolutely, and I think it works your brain and your imagination in ways that I don't think you even realize while you're reading. But I think the more you visualize the world that you're reading, the more your brain is working. I mean, you're kind of doing the rest of the work. That anything that the author leaves out, your brain fills in, and I feel like that makes you more tired. I know for me that if I lay down to read a book at night, I'm going to fall asleep so much faster and like harder than if I'm scrolling through my phone, because I'll scroll through my phone, then I put it down, and then like 2 hours go by, and I'm like, I'm still not asleep. If I'm reading, like I read until I'm tired, and then sometimes like the book will still be in bed with me by the time I fall asleep. So I do think that reading it's so good for you.
Would you say it's fundamental?
I would say that it's fundamental, and I would say that we've got so many great local bookstores that have great books for you inside. So go check those out, especially as we gear up for back to school. I know as a teenager, I really didn't read that much. I definitely read now more in my adult life than I ever did as a kid.
I've always been a big reader, but it's mostly been, newspaper articles and things like that. And just in probably the last year, I've started to read a lot more novels and have been just kind of plowing through them. Yes. And it really has felt like a nice divorce from everything that's going on outside. Mm-hmm. You can be in this whole different world. You don't have to worry about the implications of anything. You just get a good story. And I think you're right. What it does with the brain, those neural connections that are going on. I'm going to butcher this and paraphrase it, but I've always heard the term like, reading is looking at thin slices of wood and hallucinating as you go through an entire different world. Like it really
pretty
is.
Much. When you boil it down, that is pretty much what reading is. So we love to have book recommendations. If you've read a book lately that just blew your mind, or maybe you need some book recommendations, we've got some of those too. So let us know, team@coastlife.com, or we love to keep the conversation going off the air. But we're all about escapism. We've got some more fun coming your way on Coast Life. Let's see what's coming up today on the show. I know I don't really want to wish any time away, but I am so excited for fall. Part of that is the fashion.
Coming up, we head to a bar that's been shaking up Ocean City for decades, from fresh squeezed drinks to unforgettable memories. The Bearded Clam proves it's more than just a name. That's on the way.
And the school year is coming at us quick. We're going to get some safety tips and really some resources for parents and kids so they can be ready for the year when it starts.
Yes, and that great conversation is coming up next, along with so much more fun for the rest of Coast Life.
Coast Life is sponsored by BB Healthcare, Coastal Comfort Heating and Air Conditioning, Preston Automotive Group, Shell Brothers, and the Parker Group.
Well, Coast Life, all week long, we've been getting you ready for that back to school season. It's going to be here before we know it, and we want everybody to feel like they're prepared. I feel like going back to school looks a little bit different these days than maybe it did for us. I feel like for years it looked the same, and now
it was the same for a long time.
Enter technology.
Things are a lot different.
Yes. So we just want to make sure that parents and kids both are feeling good about going back to school. So we brought in Joey Melvin, Executive Director with Delaware Schools Safety Center, and we're talking a little bit about ways that you can prep parents and students alike for going back to school. And some of that starts with really just having those encouraging conversations at home, parents checking in with their kids.
Yep, absolutely. First and foremost, thank you for having me today. I appreciate the opportunity to speak about the Safety Center and what we can provide. And what you started with is very important. If we look at relationships, open communication, that's key. So when do you want to do that is now, right? You want to do that over the summer. If parents and guardians and grandparents can have these conversations with their children over the summer and just establish that kind of trust, let them know that they have a safe place, they have a trusted adult that they can confide in.
Now, if you've established that, if you've taken the first step, what are some of the tools that are out there for parents, for kids and parents through SafeDE?
Yeah, so through SafeDE, we've invested very heavily in our time and resources into applications that'll support our schools and keep them safer. One of those that we're really proud of is a method for anonymous reporting to occur. So we've invested in a platform that we provide to all public and private schools throughout the state. It's optional, but they can implement this software into their buildings. And we have 13 counselors and call takers 24/7, 365 that do nothing but receive these tips, these concerns, and we want to have that outlet for them, that ability and that resource to reach out. So with this application, if they're concerned about bullying, whether it's to themselves or to a peer, if they're concerned about a weapon, if they're concerned about drugs, if they're concerned about an inappropriate relationship within the school. This is all stuff that they can anonymously report, and it could be Christmas Eve at 2 in the morning that they decide to do this, and we can take immediate action. Those schools that implement the program create contact persons, but also we're connected to our law enforcement community and first responders. So if we have a student that has suicidal ideations, for example, or they have a friend they're concerned about, we can deploy those first responders to their residence really quick and get them the help they need, keep them safe. Another program that we work really hard to build is behavioral threat assessments within our schools. And the purpose of that is, of course, to prevent violent acts from occurring, but it goes a lot deeper than that. You know, research shows that 93% of every attack that we've had on a school, mass attack, they had shared information with somebody else. So that just shows that there was opportunities for intervention in the majority of incidents that we had along that pathway well before the event occurred, but making sure that the students have an outlet and they feel comfortable reporting and sharing that information. And the schools are trained to respond to that concerning behavior is super important. So that's another initiative that we work really hard to train behavioral threat assessment teams within schools.
I think that's incredible. We did mention that, going back to school these days looks a little bit different than it used to. And I think part of that is the ever-changing digital world around us, whether it's social media. I know a lot of schools, you have to have a lot of technology and internet access just to get your schoolwork done. So what are some steps for that digital safety that parents and students should both be aware of?
Yeah, definitely something we pay a lot of attention to, and digital safety is extremely important. We see this as our younger generations are leveraging it, and there's a lot of great things with it.
Sure.
There's a lot of dangers as well.
Absolutely.
So it's something we have to take in consideration. I really like to start with what's at home, right? With parents. And I want parents, and I really want to encourage them to educate themselves, not just anecdotally say, hey, this stuff can be dangerous. Like, really learn about what is dangerous about it. And when I go and I train and speak at a PTA meeting, or I train staff and talk about this stuff, go really in depth to how these platforms work, their intent, and helping them understand that the intent of these platforms is mostly monetary. It's not to keep you happy.
It's to keep you on the
It's to keep
site.
you on the site, right? It's to attract you to it, capture your data, explain to them that, you're not paying for it, but you are paying for it, right? You're giving up a lot of your personal data, and that's where we see a lot of children that are entering email addresses, date of births. It could ask you for social security numbers, and they do this innocently, thinking this is going to give me access to a game. And next thing you know, they've captured that data. You're enjoying the game, but on the back end, all of a sudden, they could be getting loans in your name, or even more concerning, it's a platform that allows for kind of grooming and for people that are doing very malicious things to target our youth.
I think all of this circles back to the beginning, which is the conversation part, whereas because you can't protect kids from everything all the time, having them feel comfortable talking with their parents about certain things might open the doors up to the people who do have fully formed brains and can make fully formed decisions.
Absolutely. Just for them to have, and again, a trusted adult.
And I think we would be remiss, if we wrapped up without talking. I know a lot of parents are concerned about bullying when they send their kids back to school. And I think, unfortunately, this happens sort of at all ages.
Yep, absolutely. So another a value back to the application that we provide to all the schools through SafeDE is our ability to have data. And as you may suspect, the most prevalent thing that we see reported is bullying. As you stated when we started out, with the digital changes that we've seen, and that scope has grown. And what it's done to bullying is really expanded it. So those are major concerns. Again, that goes back, and everything goes back to trusted adults, right? Really encouraging that climate, providing them a way to report it, right? So we don't want them to feel isolated. We want to make sure that they have different options. Some students are very comfortable going down and speaking to an administrator, a counselor, or some other trusted adult in their building. Could be their school resource officer. I know I would get reports, and establishing that for them, but making sure that there's a multitude of ways for them to communicate. Schools, again, are always across the state. address kind of bullying, what it means, what it is, and we start that at a very young age. We talk about that in elementary school. But the more we can talk about it, more we can encourage these positive climates. It has shown that it makes schools safer. It drives down incidents of violence and really makes not just our schools, but our community safer as well.
Yep, I love that. So a lot of great information that we have just thrown at you guys as we get ready for back to school season. Joey, is there a place that parents can go maybe for just some extra support, some extra information, maybe to kind of get the ball rolling on some of these discussions and conversations?
Yeah, if they go to the Delaware Emergency Management Agency's website, you can Google that, and as soon as you get there, if you go to the preparedness side, you'll see the Delaware School Safety Center, and we have our website on that. All of our contact information is on there, and we encourage parents to, when they have discussions with their kids, talk about all of these things, and that's to include safety. You know, if they're having drills, if they're having any kind of events, have those discussions with their parents. Parents also do your research on your school. Right? Ask about these kind of things. Ask about policies, procedures, emergency procedures, so you're not surprised when you hear or see certain things.
Makes sense to me. Well, Joey Melvin, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for coming in today, and thank you for all the thorough approach that you guys take when it comes to addressing all of these issues and concerns that parents and students alike have when it comes to going back to school.
Glad to be here. Thank you very much.
Of course. Well, he also mentioned chatting with some school resource officers. We've got one to introduce you to when we get back.
We've already done a little prepping parents and kids for the school year that's coming up, but we don't want to stop there because it's a nervous time of year. Everybody's trying to get ready. We're bringing in right now School Resource Officer Robert Scisco from the Rehoboth Police Department. What can you tell us as we get ready for this school year about especially being outside for the buses? What should people be paying attention to?
Sure, absolutely. First of all, thanks guys for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Of course.
This time of year, it's kind of a love-hate relationship I feel like people have. They hate that the summer's gone, but they love that the roads are going to kind of open back up. And with the roads opening back up, I mean, schools are opening back up, and we're going to have the buses out there again. I always like to tell people, especially when the school starts, it's going to start September 3rd for the Cape Open School District, so all the buses are going to be out there. Try to give yourself enough time in the morning. I feel like that's the biggest tip I can give people. As adults, parents, we're rushing around trying to get the kids off to the school, get yourself off to work. So try to give yourself at least an extra 10 to 15 minutes in the morning to get to where you need to get to. The buses are going to be out there. They're going to be stopping frequently, so you might get caught behind a bus for that amount of time. So that's always good to prepare yourself for that.
Just try not to be frustrated.
Well,
this is
absolutely
going to happen. Don't try to sneak around
them.
No, definitely not, because exactly the buses have those stop signs on the side of them for a reason.
Flashing lights.
The flashing
they're
lights,
telling
you're going to definitely see it. And while you're driving, hopefully you have all your things done at home, like eating breakfast. Try not to eat breakfast in the car. Try not to worry about your makeup or anything in the car. Don't try to get distracted by, if you're carpooling, other people in the car with you. All those external distractions, you can mitigate that, but just leaving that kind of stuff at home or being prepared already when you leave the house. And then the other thing we're going to have to worry about too is our young drivers. There's some high school kids that are driving to school for the first time this year. So my advice to those kids is, their biggest thing is, don't be checking TikTok or your Snapchat while you're driving. If you're bringing kids to school, or especially your siblings, pay attention, get there safe. And then the other group of kids that we don't really think about is too, sometimes the kids have to walk to school or ride their bikes. So the other thing I tell parents for them, as the school year goes on, the sun doesn't rise as early, so it's going to be darker. There are great products you can buy for your kids that just put like a reflective sticker or tag on their backpack, or even if they ride their bikes, same thing. If anyone's in the area, they can stop by the Rehoboth Beach Police Department. We'll gladly give them some reflective gear to give their kids.
I love that.
So make sure you can be seen if you're one of the kids that's out there. Parents, make sure that your children are visible. But then also for the drivers, make sure you're looking for those kids, because they are going to be out there in force here in just a couple weeks.
Sure. And the other tip I like to give people too is, there's a lot of road construction going around. So if you don't have the time to sit and watch your favorite news segment to get the traffic updates, go on the Del.dot website. There's a link right there. They'll give you all the road closures and what the traffic looks like. So.
That's
quick, easy tip.
A lot of great options for you out there to start mentally prepping. And I think this, we've been hyping up the parents, hyping up the kids for going back to school. But this one is for everybody, because regardless of whether or not you got a kid in the school system, you're going to be sharing the road with school buses. So I think everybody give yourself that extra time. pack your patience with you starting September 3rd.
Yeah.
And it's okay. You can tell your boss, I got stuck behind a bus, and they'll understand.
And you were mentioning the first time drivers. It made me think of, when I used to cover sports, I was at the high schools a lot more. And just like the minute school gets out and you've got all these young drivers mass exiting. Guys, if you're in the car, try your best to take a little time. You don't need to be in a hurry. Everybody's going to get where they need to go.
Yep.
Let's hope everybody's
just
safe
patience.
out
Patience
there.
is key. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Officer Scisco, thank you so much for coming in today and
thank you for
getting us
having
ready
me.
for sharing the road with everybody heading back to school in just a few short weeks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course. Coming up on Coast Life, though, it is Thursday, so we've got some drama, some tea, all to spill when we get back.
Ready for your happy place in Townsend, 1113 Kayla Lane, 1 level, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths in a 55-plus community, $489,900. Seaford's 514 North Willie, hardwood floors, 3 bedrooms, screen porch, $324,900. 3 Orchard Road, 4 bedrooms, corner lot, community pool, $339,900. And in Lewis, Villa Circle, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, your beach retreat, $319,900, all vacant, all verified, all ready to see today. This week's Happy Place is sponsored by the Parker Group. This segment of Coast Life is sponsored by Tea Exchange of Rehoboth.
Well, on a blustery day like today, nothing might be a little more comforting than a nice hot cup of tea, and this one especially for a day like today from the Spice and Tea Exchange on Rehoboth Avenue in Rehoboth Beach will just set you right. So Charlie, what are we drinking?
Here's what we've got. It is the Roots Revival Herbal Tea. Celebrate the salaciously powerful synergy of roots with this robust and radiant herbal blend, glowing with botanicals known for vitality and wellness, supporting things like anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and digestive health. So a lot of benefits there.
Yeah, I mean, I know when I crack that open, I always take a whiff of the tea before we drink it because I like to know what you're up
Set the
against.
stage,
Yes, and you can really smell the ginger coming through. So if you're a ginger fan, this is going to be a great tea for you. Well, Charlie, why don't you get to spilling, and then I'll get to spilling our more metaphorical tea, if you will. So this is some more coworker drama. Is she wrong for confronting her coworker who lied to her? After learning that a teammate had been misleading her at work, taking credit for her efforts, and not just like little baby efforts here. This was many, many efforts that the credit was taken. She confronted her coworker directly. So what happened was these two were working on a project together. The writer thinking, oh, we're working together, yay, collaboration. The coworker then taking everything they knew, presented a project and omitted the writer's contribution from this presentation. The writer was hurt deeply, confronted this coworker angrily, and other people kind of started to notice. And the person who presented the project apologized, said they felt bad for taking all the credit, didn't realize it was that big of a deal, I guess. Hard to believe, but that's their story and they're sticking to it. And our writer says, now I'm kind of conflicted because I may have taken it a little too far. I mean, this person was angry, told the coworker, she thought he wasn't competent, thought he couldn't do his job, may have crossed a line or two when it came to this confrontation. So we want to know, did she take this a little too far?
Yes.
Yes.
But first of all, the coworker that wasn't giving credit is also a jerk. Let's be very clear about this. That's like one of those moves where you're trying to get all the credit so you can get ahead, kick everybody that's alongside you. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
But the ferocity of the pushback was a little scorched earth. Like, she was in the right to confront this person.
Yeah.
She probably wasn't in the right to, in front of a bunch of people, call him no talent and say that he couldn't ever have done this without her and to be cursing. And there are limits to where and how you should be handling this stuff. I get it. I'd be upset too if somebody tried to cut me out of something that I was a major part of putting forward. Like, I get it, but that does seem like maybe a step too far. I think of the two of them, she's the least in the wrong, but she was in the wrong.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. I think confronting this coworker in itself is a good and necessary step because you don't want something like that to boil over or happen again. And especially if the receiving end of that conversation was, I'm so sorry, it's like, ooh, dial it back. But I feel like this is the exact reason why earlier in the show we were talking about a mind reading chip. Like this is why we don't want those. So you can keep those internal thoughts internal.
Yeah.
And I understand the temptation too to really just go off on somebody, but never in front of an audience. I think it's even within your right to kind of put somebody in their place privately.
Yeah.
Just not with
It's
people around who can see you
The way it
or
was
hear you.
handled was
Yeah.
a little bit much.
Yeah.
Again, nothing wrong with confronting this person. That person was in the wrong. They shouldn't have
Yeah.
been
Even
trying to
somewhat
take all the
aggressively.
credit. And yeah, stand up for yourself boldly, but to just be cursing and telling them they have no talent and like that's a little far.
It also usually isn't well received. I feel like sometimes if you're just insulting somebody, they might do it again just to spite you because you were mean to them or cruel to them in the first place. But
Well, and there's an old phrase: people from a distance can't tell who is who when fools are arguing.
true. That's a good one. Good. That applies to a lot of our spill the teas here. So I think, yeah, I don't think she was wrong to confront this person, but I do think maybe she took it too far, and it might be time to apologize yourself a little bit. Your coworker apologized for stealing all the credit. Now maybe you apologize for being a little too mean.
Yeah, there's some culpability there.
Yeah, I think so. But one thing we can all always agree on, that the tea from the Spice and Tea Exchange is delicious. Let's take a sip here. I love ginger.
I like this. That's delightful. I really do. It's a nice taste. I think that can go, especially on a day like today.
Oh, yeah.
The hot tea really kicks in.
And I know a lot of people's allergies have been driving them crazy. This might kind of help soothe some of that too. So get yourself some tea at the Spice and Tea Exchange on Rehoboth Avenue in Rehoboth Beach. Maybe sometime this weekend. Pop in, tell them Coast Life sent you. We do have to take a quick break, but when we get back, we've been mentioning the weather. We're going to be talking with one of our meteorologists about what you can expect, going into the rest of the day ahead.
We don't always talk about the weather on Coast Life, but when it's important, when there's a little danger, we want to bring in our experts. This is Chris Mastrobuono, our meteorologist. And Chris, we've got storms off the coast. What is that setting up for us here on the coast?
Yeah, so we've been talking all week about Hurricane Erin. Where's it going? It's the center of the storm is actually pushing out to sea. It's actually moving to the northeast, and it's about 200-300 miles out to sea, but it expanded. It's so wide, the wind field is so wide that we're seeing effects here on Delmarva in the form of some tremendous wave action, and the wind field of this storm is so large, it's creating some high surf, and in turn, we're going to be dealing with some inundation along the coast, and we're already beginning to see some flooding in those back bays, and that's really going to be the issue going into this evening.
And when those floods start to happen, do the tides impact that? Is it coming in kind of harder than usual? What goes on there?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a double whammy because we have the strong northeast winds. We have surf 8 to 14 feet, and that's coinciding with the high tide this evening. So that's when we expect kind of the worst flooding along the coast is through Thursday evening.
And when is this supposed to start to clear up? When do we think we'll be in better shape?
Yeah, so we're going to start to clear out, believe it or not, tonight. And by tomorrow morning, by Friday morning, we're going to be in the upper 50s away from the coast, lower 60s. Friday's setting up to be a really nice day, but the surf is going to continue to be high. So if you have beach plans Friday and even into the weekend, it's going to be really nice. The surf is still going to be high. I mean, we're still going to be dealing with waves upwards of 6 to 10 feet into Friday, and then that dangerous rip current threat is going to linger kind of into the weekend.
So kind of don't get fooled. If you go to the beach, maybe it's a great day to sit out, but you're probably still not going to want to be spending too much time getting into the water, if at all. You've got rip currents, big waves, things that people should be aware of.
It takes a while for the sea to kind of calm itself after a storm. So you want to swim near those lifeguards and pay close attention to their directions when you're heading out to the beach through the weekend.
And of course, every beach is a little bit different. You can always check on coasttv.com to see what the latest closures are, where things are open, and check out our shows as well, our newscasts. They'll have plenty of information on them throughout the next couple of days. We're going to get out of here. Chris, thank you so much for joining us and giving us a little meteorological excellence there. We appreciate it.
No problem, anytime.
All right, we have more Coast Life coming up after this.
This segment of Coast Life is sponsored by Ocean City Tourism.
The Bearded Clam isn't just a bar, it's an Ocean City institution. Known for its freshly squeezed drinks and legendary energy, this local hotspot has been making waves since 1978. In Coast Life, I'm a bit of a pool shark myself, so I will be playing and challenging owner, bartender, and local legend. We have Mike Charlie here. How you doing today?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Perfect. Mike, if you want to break for us, I'm going to
right.
ask you a few questions.
I'm here for you.
Perfect. So you've been around pretty much since the beginning. That was a nice break, by the way.
Thank you, thank you.
Of course. You just got one in too if you want to
Keep it going?
again. Yep. So you've been here since the beginning. Can you tell us a little bit about how the Bearded Clam all began?
My grandfather owned a bar in Cape May, New Jersey. And then we moved on to Ocean City, moved down here, and then he wanted to keep the bar business going. So we moved here and we started over with my mom and my dad. We came here, we started in 1978. Small beginnings. My dad worked hard, he worked all the hours, and I just hung around like a little kid, listened to the jukebox, and then I got old enough and then started working and haven't stopped since. She is a pool shark. She wasn't lying. She was not lying. We're going to take that.
No, but yeah, so you started this basically with your dad. Can you tell me a little bit about him? What was he like? How did he get into this?
Again, a family business. My grandfather had a bar, and that's what all he knew. And then kind of just follow the family. The family business, just you find a track and you go with it, and that's what happens. It's just one of those things that just keeps going on. You just move, you do what's right. You do it with your family.
And so can you tell us a little bit about, maybe let Coast Life in on the secret to these legendary freshly squeezed drinks?
The biggest secret is that we just make them right.
Yeah.
We care about the ingredients, we care about how we make it, and we make it the same way every time. Our fresh squeezers are older than all three of us put together. They're from the 1950s and they still work. So
nice. So, I mean, it's a tried and true method, it sounds like. And like they said, they're doing it right here.
Yep.
Can you let us in a little bit about, maybe do you have a favorite drink that you like to make, or maybe a drink that you like to sip on yourself?
Any of our drinks that have orange juice, grapefruit juice, lemon, lime are freshly squeezed into the drink.
Nice.
Not just poured out of a bottle or shot out of a gun. It's all, you know, made with love.
Yeah.
So.
Made with love. I love that. Yes, it's made with love. It's natural ingredients. People who've never even liked it are trying it and they're enjoying it. So clearly you're doing something right here. Can you also maybe talk about what separates you guys from other bars in the area?
We're just a regular bar. We're like everybody's home bar.
Yeah.
People come to visit Ocean City and they're like, this is my week. And they come sit at the bar, and every year they're here, or they come in and they say, this reminds me of the bar, my bar at home.
Yeah.
And they'll stay here all day and they'll tell their friends, and it's like, they'll take pictures, they put stickers up on the wall, they bring their license plates in. We have all 50 states in here, international plates. That's the tip bell, so somebody must have given Chip a good tip, because everybody loves Chip at the bar. So he's one of the most famous bartenders in Ocean City.
Being a family business, do you think your kids are going to eventually take over this spot?
I'm pretty sure they like to work. They're well, there's some of the few kids I know that are in this town that want to work. They want to make money, and they want to do. They're good helpers and they're good people. So
they must get it from someone. So
most likely their mother.
I'm sure that's not true. But then also, for viewers who have never been here before, how would you describe the atmosphere and the vibe of this bar?
This is a hometown bar. Everyone comes in and they just become friends.
Yeah.
We don't start out with like, oh, you know, we're the coolest bar in town. We're just a regular bar. It's like, what do you want to do when you come in? You get a fresh squeezed drink, you get an ice cold beer, listen to music, and you just make new friends.
Yeah, so really it's the people here who's really making the experience. They're doing the easy part, and then it's you guys to bring the fun and the joy.
Exactly.
Yep.
You explained it better than me on that one. That was perfect.
Thank you. Yeah. So Mike, one more time, if you just want to let the viewers know where they can find you and check you out.
Bearded Clam is located on 15 Wycomico Street, Ocean City, Maryland, which is the same street that Jolly Roger Pier is on. So if you get to the pier, you walk straight down, you can't miss us.
Perfect. Well, Mike, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of course. Well, I'm not quite done with Mike yet because we still have a game of pool to play, but Coast Life, you don't go anywhere because there's more on the way.
This segment of Coast Life is sponsored by Water Lili.
Well, I know, summer is winding down. Many of us sad to say goodbye to the summer season. Oh, but not me, because fall is right around the corner, and it is my favorite time of year. to get dressed. So of course, well, we've got Lili Oller with Water Lili joining us here for a little bit of a fall wardrobe refresh, if you will. It's a new season. You guys have some new arrivals, and everything that you've already put out has caught everybody's eye who's walked through the door already. So talk to us a little bit about what you have, maybe some of those transitional pieces for these days where we've been caught where it's a little cool in the morning, but it's hot by the afternoon, and then cool again at night. So how do we kind of work our summer into fall wardrobe?
Well, first, I want to thank you for letting me be here.
Of course.
It's always wonderful to be with you. And you have become the star of Water Lili.
Stop.
I have to tell you this because everything that you wear, ladies come and say, I want to wear what I want what Leah was wearing. And I'm like, show me a picture. He goes, I don't know. So you've made my job so much more fun. We're headed into transition, your season, your color. So it's making my job even easier and so much. I have so much fun picking out for you.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. So for folks who do pop in and they're maybe looking for a little something here and there, what are some of the pieces that you have? I mean, you've brought some great ones with you. I think especially some pops of color as we go from summer into fall. What are things that maybe you keep an eye out for?
Like you said, transition. We still have a lot of summer left.
Sure.
We still have a lot of hot days ahead. But all of a sudden we'll kick in these cool nights that you need a little blazer. You know, I brought my friends here with me. And it just elevates your fit. Whether you're going to a networking event, you need a conversation piece, or you're going out for a football game, you want our #1 pants, the Cape pants. Oh my gosh, wait till you put them on. You're never gonna take them off.
I bet.
So we've got little things that are gonna cover for those cooler nights, and again, for those hot days, the linen will always be there.
Yes, and you mentioned football, which I know a lot of us are ready for football season. And if you want to show up cute for all of your football games, whether you're going to a game, you're going to someone's house to watch the game, maybe you've got a draft coming up like I do, you've got the perfect fit. It's again another one that has stopped everybody to talk about it.
And I always carry football. And I love to stir up the pot.
You do.
I put my team there, and I put the 2 popular teams for the East Coast. And then I throw mine in, and it just stirs the pot. It gets them going. But you know what? Makes me unforgettable.
It does. But the one thing everybody can agree on is how cute your football-themed accessories are, from the jacket to the bag. I mean, there's something that everybody.
You go to a party, and you don't know anybody. You're wearing this jacket that has these gorgeous sequins football. Everybody's gonna want it.
Yes.
You know, so they're talking pieces. They're fun. They're jovial, and that's what life is all about: having fun.
Absolutely. Another way, I think, an easy way to sort of accessorize for those transition seasons, bags, which you have plenty of, all of them cute. This one holds quite a bit.
And this is a great bag because of the woven. It's all vegan. The woven is the braided is so rich, and we have it in this other color. I believe we have like 8 different colors. They're great because you just put them on your shoulder and you are good to go. You have your hands free, and it has another bag inside.
Seems to be a Water Lili thing with the bags.
You want to go to the grocery store, put your essentials there, and leave all the non-stuff we don't need.
All your concert attendees that you have in here. So clearly lots of stuff to get people ready for these transition months. Lili, what is it that you love about these transition seasons that makes it kind of fun for you, I guess, when it comes to picking out pieces for the store?
You know, it's the unexpected. You know, like anything that's going to just bottlenecks, just unexpected is like, wow, what is that? And yesterday, a lady came in looking for it as a story, and her husband's driving her around. She puts it on in the store because she had called us for it. And she's like, he's not going to notice. And he didn't notice. So she's like, I escaped that one. So anything that's going to pop and add that little bit of like, okay, it's coming into fall. I don't like to say that because winter's right behind it.
I know.
So let's just take it piano, one day at a time. So anything that's just going to elevate your wardrobe. And best thing is, you wore it last year, you're tired of it, pass it on, give it to somebody else, and then introduce something new.
I love it. So for folks who are ready for maybe that little bit of a wardrobe refresh, maybe you're as ready for the autumn season as I am, how can people stop by and check you out? Because you got 2 locations.
Yes, we're open every day and we never close. So we're open at the Boardwalk and the Ocean View stores.
Perfect. Well, Lili, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much for bringing such great pieces. And thank you so much for keeping me stylish every single day.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure for me too. We do have some more Coast Life to get to, more fun coming your way. Well, Coast Life, it's almost time to let you go. I know, one more day. Tomorrow's Friday. We can all look forward to that. We can also look forward to some more back to school topics. I know before you know it, we're going to be seeing those big yellow school buses out and about, which means we're also going to be seeing some kids waiting in line to get on the bus. So we are going to talk some bus safety, things that all of us need to be aware of, need to keep an eye on tomorrow as we gear up for that back to school season, because it is everybody has to do their part, and that includes driving a little bit safer, especially through neighborhood areas. So we'll get to that tomorrow. For now, though, have a great rest of your day. Charlie's downstairs getting ready for Coast TV News at 5. That is us, and we will see you tomorrow.